Okay. Is there anything in your setup that Tim has worked with you on and right now? Anything
Right
that is
now,
there? Okay. Is there any?
sometimes I'll get really far on my heels, but I've kind of gotten away from that.
Right, so I put that line underneath your armpit. I'm going to put up a tour player. I'll come back to this one over here in a minute. Because I like your grip. I love your ball position. Your aim is great. But your postural balance points, the reason you don't use the ground any is because you're so vertical when you start and you're actually on your toes too. I can see that over there, by the way. Your dots are off the mat. I'm going to put up a tour player just for a second. And I know she's not the best girl tour player out there, but I just want you to see something that's just slightly different than you. And again, don't take too many aspirin here. We're just keeping it as simple as we can. Typically, with my better players, I can always give them something at a dress that dramatically changes their ability, whether it's speed or angle of attack. And those are the two areas that you need to spend most of your practice sessions on, because you just told me that you used to take pretty good divots, right?
Yeah.
If you take a divot now, sometimes it's either going to be behind it
No,
or
it
you're.
is. If I do take a divot, it's really fast. So my
How tall are you?
5'8".
How tall is she?
Probably about the same.
5'8". Look at her legs and look at your legs.
Yeah. I'm more straight.
Okay. So when your legs are more vertical, and I do this on 3D, it's much easier to diagnose. But I went from the middle of your ankle to the middle of your knee, and then the middle of your hip socket to the back of your neck. So this is just where your balance, that's what we call dynamic balance, which is out on your toes, right? So that line's 90 degrees. What it does is it puts your arms and your hands what we call inverted. A stun. Sorry that Tim didn't listen to this. Can you tell her arms are further away?
Mm-hmm.
Because her bend points are different in her hips and her legs. So her arms have more room. You're not going to have, you're going to see in a minute, that you're going to be a little bit stuck. I don't know if you feel
I know that. Yeah, no, I do a lot.
Because you're not using your legs pushing enough, so you don't have enough room. You try to create more room in a dress, so you kind of have a band-aid going on. And I want you to have more space and more room in the transition where you feel like you've got a ton of space. All right, let's put up somebody else. We're just going to talk about a dress. I'm going to put up, you may not like him at all, but I'm going to put up Tiger in 2000. I used to teach his coach. I'm really good friends with Butch. If he'd have stayed with Butch, he'd have had the same story. So let's do the same thing. Look at the bend point from his knee. Okay, 90 degrees. Straight down. So you see that's more on the ball of his foot. Let's do from his under armpit. I'm going to do the same thing with you. With your right knee. You told me you were a visual learner, so I'm just validating. All right, so the middle of the top of your kneecap is right through your shoelaces, and his is more on the ball of his foot, right? The line underneath your armpit is way out on your toes. His is right past his ankles. So those are your dynamic balance points. So let's watch your swing here. I'm going to move this one so you can follow along. Because your angle of attack is your issue, which is affecting your speed because you're not using your legs. All right, so let's watch Tiger first. I'm going to put a line on his back. We call vertical playing line. This is going to be your number one drill that I'm going to give you in this session. All right, so you can automatically tell that his butt plane is deeper. So he's got more bend in his pocket and more in his knee. So that, and you probably you were too much that way at some points. You just said you were too much on your heels. So as Mr. Pinnock would tell you, you took too many aspirin and you went exaggerated the other way. So agreed? All right, now let's watch his pivot. Let's just watch his hips for a second. Just focusing on the hips first. Let's see here.
I always do that my whole life. I think seriously can't stop.
I'm probably not going to change that. I'm going to change your hip pivot. I'm not going to change that. Jake does that.
ever done it.
I've got a lot of pretty good players. I've got a couple of kids at Oklahoma State that did that.
Sometimes it gets like too much and I have to think about it.
So as you finish, so you're squatting going back and standing up going
Right.
through. Is that what you've always done?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't mind a little bit of a sit, but not to the point where it causes you to lose your spine tilt. Right? Because now your butt's going to work under.
Right.
So nobody you've worked with has ever tried to change that.
Like
if you change,
sometimes, like it's like a trigger for me, like it's subconscious, and so sometimes it gets like too much, and someone will be like, okay, like hold on, but then it's always there.
Okay, so if we change just a little bit in your sequence, I'm not going to talk about positions because I don't talk about positions. It's what we call sequence of motion. Trigger is great. I think every great player has a trigger. But a trigger to move your body and your club and so forth in the right order, with the sequence, is critical to transition. Because when you go from a position that you started like this, and then you went even more than I would like to see, you kind of squatted down underneath it now, but it pulls your butt in, then back, then up. So what do you think that does to your spine? Goes up, doesn't it? Well, what do you got to do now? You better go down. And now with your hips underneath you, aren't you closer to the wall with your hips? Right. Well, you started on your toes to begin with, so that influences that. So now your hips are more closer to the ball because you were on that line. Let's watch his when he gets to that same position. So y'all's arms have moved down the same amount. Where's his butt? Well, that is actually behind it. Where's the shaft in his arm? In front of him. Where's yours? You're stuck.
That's like been something I've been planning for a really long time. Is getting to underneath it and stuck. Which is why like I kind of flip it at the end.
You don't have any choice. You don't have any choice.
Right.
You have to use your hands more than hinges. You're great rotary, but your linear balance points are too far forward or too far towards your toes. That's it. That's the only thing that's you're missing in your golf swing, and I'm going to show you how to change it. It's not going to be that hard. I bet you pick up 60 days. I bet you pick up 20 yards.
Because I used to pass it along. Which also got the brand new Nike driver and it was like $300.
Oh. What are you hitting? M1?
Right now, no, but that's what I'm gonna get.
You'll pick up some yardage if you get the right shaft. If you get the M1. Where'd you go? Maybe I can give you something. Changing your balance is going to be the quickest way to change. And then just a little bit on your backswing, and I said a little bit, not much. Gotta work on your pivot. You're losing so much speed. You're so supple and mobile that you get away with it with your chest and your shoulders and your lats are so mobile. But if I put you up against any tour, I could put you up against Suzanne Pedersen and say you're equally, or Kristen, you're equally as good there. It's not even close there. You can't use your legs at all from there. All you can do is go linear and then slap it.
Right.
You just can't compress it from there.
Yeah.
You know, even when you do hit it solid, and that's why your smash factor is so low, when you do hit it solid, my gut tells me that the ball either goes too high.
No, it does.
Or if you miss hit it low on the face, it'll just fall out of the air because there's no downward compression.
Like, I really struggle to hit my long irons because when I hit them tall, they're so low.
Because you hit them low on the face, though. Right. Now, why does he have more compression going through his back?
There's more on top of the ball.
His chest is more on top and the club's more in front. Where's the handle moving right now? Yeah. Why the ball won't go left, right? What's his leg in this switch to him from right here? Yes. Whatever.
Going forward.
Up. Is he pushing? Is he pushing up? Look at his leg.
A lot.
You have no push. All you have is linear rotary. I don't know what you feel in your feet, your pressure points. What do you think his left toe does at impact?
So,
It rolls up, doesn't it? You ever watch Jordan or Patrick Reed or Jason Day or Susan Patterson or Michelle Lee? We're getting Jordan Speakers on the way to because he's moving toward his heel. And the only way you can do that, you can't just do that by moving rotary. You got to move up here. You got to push. You can't push from the position you start in. You're going to learn to push today. I bet you hit it a half a club today to grind. Because we're going to get out of going up and down. We're actually going to work on going down and up. You can't compress the ball from that. You have to do that. If somebody told you to get your hands in front more right now, you'd stick it in the ground and hit that.
I feel like I'm like bashing on him. But, like, because I called him after my tournament, and I was like, I'm hitting my 720-yard shorter. So I usually, like, would hit at 145. I got to the point where I could hit at 145, and then I was standing over 130-yard shot, and I was like, I don't know if this is going to get there.
Don't bash him, but tell me what he said. I want to know.
Well, he was like, well, you need to compress it more, and, like, everything.
Okay. Well, that's true.
But then, like,
Did
I
he
didn't
tell
know
you how?
you know,
Did he tell you how to compress it then?
try. But, I mean, I didn't get to go home and, you know, everything, and so I flew straight to Waco, but.
Well, any good teacher can tell you what. You know, can they teach you how? And that's right. Where's that 101? So I just want to put this last one on the side. There you go. Okay, so in your own words, what are we going to change it to address?
Get more on my balls with me.
So I'm going to walk up to you because you were talking about being visual, but you have to be more sensory too. What does it feel like? So I'm going to walk up behind you. If I see you like that, I'm going to walk up behind you and I'm going to push you over. And then if you get too far on your heels, I'm going to walk over on the side and I'm going to push you over the other way. So you've got to, Harvey used to do that for me all the time. So you've got to get some sort of sense of balance point so that your legs are more engaged, your glutes, your quads. You couldn't have tight hamstrings and do that vertical, so you have no issue with your hamstrings.
I don't really have any flexibility tightness at all.
So, but you're not engaging your glutes and your quads enough. You know what those are, right? Your quads and your glutes are not engaged at all. That's why you do this. So you have to do that. So now you're down. Okay. So what happens is when you go down first, as you get rotary, you're going to go up. Do you feel that?
Not really.
You don't? Okay, so do you think he goes up? Let's
Probably goes down.
do a test. Do you think his spine angle is going to change going back? Guess what?
Not a lot.
Hardly any.
Right.
When does it change? Though? When he sits with his legs. Right, so he's down 2 inches lower with his spine, let's say, because of him sitting down. You do that in the back. You can't do it now. You've already lost the energy, right? So now he's down. You know, let's see when he gets about halfway down. Let's see what his energy does now. It's back to where he started, though, isn't it? So now what he's doing wrong now, in my opinion, is because his posture's gotten so bad, maybe it's because he's injured or whatever, or his swing coach is that he's doing the opposite. He's doing what you're doing. But you don't want to be like Tiger Man. You want to be like Tiger Man.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go outside. I'm going to give you a couple of drills. Do y'all have any mirrors at your place that you can actually watch yourself do it?